Hey everybody, welcome to Pass the Money. I'm Kirby. This is Alex. Alex is talking to us remote. He in some country in South America, Colombia. That's where he's at. Uh, but he blesses us with getting on right now. I know he just landed a couple hours ago, so thanks for joining this endeavor. But with that being said, so let's get the final prognosis on the rental property. So first off, how do it feel before we jump into exactly what's going on? Just the emotions of it. How do it feel to own your first rental?
Um, Feels like just getting started. I mean it's cool, but like it's a weird feeling because it's like I feel like I made an accomplishment, but at the same time I'm like I got a lot more to get. Like that's just how it feels. Um, of course, to everybody else that I know, they look at it like, wow, you got two houses. Like they're like it's like some big thing to them. But to me, it's just like for me personally, I just want to get more. That's it.
All right. And then so once you finally closed the paperwork and it was done, did you feel like a sense of relief, was it like, damn, you got to go through all that for one, and I want to get more. I got to go through this again.
No, like yeah, so honestly I hated the process, but like it does feel relieving, but yeah, it sucks knowing I was like, man, this is why Kirby pays cash. Like I was like, screw this.
Right. It's a,
But
it's a,
yeah, but
it's a headache.
even though it's an annoying process to go through, I'd still do it again because it's worth it in the long term.
Yeah, it got some things to do with, some added stuff with added because of the '08 crash. Especially like, the big one is not being able to close inside the LLC because banks got screwed over a
Yeah,
lot. Then I mean, debt to income ratio. I mean, I get it. They want to, dot their I's, cross their T's because they're giving you, you know, six figures and more in debt. I mean, well, to purchase a property, but it's yeah, it sucks. It sucks sometimes. Then you don't know, no matter if you even turn in all the paperwork day one, you still don't know until almost the day before the closing is, oh, all right, it's gonna go through. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like that easy feeling that's uh that's crazy. But yeah, no, well you get used to it and just be like, oh, it's just a part of the game, part of the game.
yeah.
So once you close the property, and then we've seen you put up the shorts. You've been doing some rehab and stuff like that, and then now you're in Colombia, and your tenant is supposed to move in what day? Huh?
They moved in. Was it yesterday? Yesterday in the
So,
in the evening. Yesterday
so they
evening.
moved. Okay, and then so you wasn't even there when they moved in.
No, no,
Okay.
no. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no. But
Yeah.
I mean, luckily I've been able to stay in contact with him out here. But yeah, I mean, so basically from not much to do right now. So if something comes up, I'll be managing the property myself. So it's just I guess a matter of waiting to see if anything happens. So but yeah.
Yeah, and then so because everybody's talking about hurricane. I can't even remember the name anymore. Ian, there you go. Hurricane Ian. Was there you have any ill effects from that with getting the property ready for the 10 to win?
Yeah, so the roof, uh, the shingles pulled back on the roof, and most of them stayed on, but I have to get like that strip of shingles replaced. Um, and then the other house, nothing happened. Some limbs fell from the tree.
Yeah,
It fell right on the driveway. So
right. And then y'all got hit way harder than we did, I guess. I mean, I'm
oh,
not for sure damage that way.
power outage too. Yeah,
Okay.
power's
Yeah.
still out. Yeah.
Power's still out?
Yeah, power's still out. He said, "Welcome to the suck." Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I talked to some friends of mine that's closer to me, like everybody around me, their power was out. I had rental properties, power was out. They came back online yesterday morning, and then some other people I was talking to, they say closer to me, their power just came back on last night around 10:30 or so. So what, 4 days after the hurricane, as this video is going on, about 4 days after the hurricane. And some people still power out, internet's out. It's like internet's like a utility now. It's like a necessity these days, but people
Yeah.
still have internet and stuff out. So yeah, that's. So what's next on the agenda? So you going so what's the next game plan? You got the one rental property. You going to see how that one goes for a little while before you jump back in the frying pan again?
No, no, I'll be doing like from here up until what I'm planning, at least from here up until all throughout next year, saving cash, investing in like the SPY. But like we talked about, I was investing a majority of my income in just 401k because I wasn't using it, so I was just putting it away so I can get the tax deduction or whatever. But come to find out that hits you on the back end when you're trying to buy real estate. So I'll be saving cash, and then the following year is when I want to get my next one. So 2024, and I'm just gonna get be buying multifamily. Probably get a duplex would be the goal.
Right, right. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. So, so how? Well, you said, some people was, congratulatory, so what was the reception like from other, family friends about you jumping into the endeavor of, first you in stocks. Well, no, first you have your online business. Now, then you jump to stocks. Now you're jumping into real estate. What's the feedback you're receiving from friends, family, peers, things like that?
Well, it's funny because like the process of trying to find a property, right? Like was took a while, especially with the market changes in Florida. So I actually had some people say like, "Oh, you're never gonna find one," or "It's too expensive right now," or just saying like me personally, like I just wouldn't do it. Um, and so I heard that, or like when I did get the property, it was like, "Oh, why you have two?" Or like most people are just like they're used to living in just their house, and that's the only property they ever buy. Um, and also a lot of people that have never even bought a property and are renting, especially, said buying and renting a house wasn't worth it. That um, you have to manage the tenants and deal with bad people that break things and stuff. Which is funny because especially on the scale of multifamily, having that same conversation with them, when you mention property management to them, where you don't personally have to deal with it, but you can hire a company to manage it. They're like, oh yeah, well that would make sense. Like if people are so fed this idea that like investing in real estate is a no go, like don't do it, it's terrible, and it just costs you a lot of money. But as you've said, if you do the right screening, if the tenant damages your home, you failed by screening the tenant, and you could have prevented that on day one. Um, but a lot of people have this mistaken idea that investing in real estate is just a danger zone.
Yeah, because most, I'm not gonna say all, most people know, let's say a cousin, relative, or something that owned a rental property. They did it on a very small
Right,
scale. They don't know how the relative operated as a manager or operated as, a landlord.
right,
Um, they didn't know what situation their, relative or friend was in when they did that. Was they just, keeping tenants in just to cover the mortgage, just to say, hey, I have a rental property? Was they going for cash flow? What were they doing? Was when repairs was needed, did, you know, the prospective landlord have enough capital to fix repairs? If they didn't have the money to fix repairs, did a small repair become to catastrophic incident? Um, but again, it comes to screening, like you said, you want people that's making, 2.5 to 3 times what the mortgage, I mean the rent is. You want them making that every month. So you know that they have enough income to cover the rent. As far as screening tenants, reaching out to previous landlords, asking the tenant to provide you reference of places that you uh, that they leased from before, so you can reach out to those property managers or those landlords to see how they was as a tenant. Other things you could do, of course, criminal check, criminal background check, credit check, of course. If they're not paying other creditors, best believe they're not going to pay you also.
Right.
So those are different ways that you can screen. And a lot of people, the criminal check for me personally is me. I'm not gonna sit here and walk around like I'm a saint. I never did nothing wrong, and I'm not expecting, Saint Peter to walk through the gates as being a tenant.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of some tenants think. I mean, to each his own. Forever landlord there is. I mean, it's their property. They can do what they want. My thing is, I'm looking to see if there's something egregious towards uh the registry, something like that. The sex offender registry. That's something that's just for me. Just for me. I have kids, so
Right.
that's something that's huge for me. But people that you know, everybody was young. They did stuff. They got into some incidents and things like that. So I'm not sitting here trying to hold that against them for their whole life. Oh, for me as a landlord and for me as a property guy, I just want to make sure you're not doing, nothing nefarious in my property. Uh, but if you had hiccups along the way, so be it. But if you have hiccups along the way in a short amount of time, just give an example. If you went to reach out to me for a property and I looked at your criminal background and you got like two years of just bad stuff happening back to back to back to back to back, and then I'm seeing you getting evicted from property and stuff like that, then you're a no go at the station. I can't do that. But besides that, if you're making 2.5 to 3 times what the mortgage is, I mean, well, what the rent is, excuse me, what the rent is, and you can afford the rent, and your credit, checks out. I'm not expecting a 900 credit score. I know it don't go that high, but I'm not expecting that a massive credit score, but I'm expecting something, uh, you know, mid high sixes, and then moving up to sevens and eight. And then again, the income requirement is huge because me following, finance and economics, you want that gap because certain things can happen and people try to live up to their income instead of, having that cushion. I want to make sure that, this person has enough money if something, bad happens, they still have enough money to take care of a bad event like a blown tire or something like that and still pay the rent. I mean, I used to have tenants say, "Oh, I had to buy a new tire. New tire costs $100. Now I
Yeah.
can't afford rent." Like that's a big gap. And then so speaking of the hurricane, we was talking about your property. I had a tenant, and I've had this tenant for years. I mean, when I say A1 on top of it, like like she would literally try to break her neck to make sure she paid the rent on time, right? And then so she was one of I mean, it is funny. And we have this relationship, and it's one of the properties that I manage. We have this relationship where now if something comes up, maybe I'm out of town. Even if I'm out of town and she know it's due date, she's still trying to find ways to get me the rent, even though I'm like, hey, just hold on to it. It'll be all right. It's like, no, no, I don't want to be late. But so we have this relationship now
Oh
that
man.
whenever I be like, it's all right. And then but she want to still explain it, and I'd be like, don't have me fight you now. We're not. I'm like, oh, we're gonna fight. But anyway, so she ran into an incident, hurricane, lost power and stuff like that. She has, very small kids and stuff like that, or grandkids, excuse me. And so their power went out, and then and she said if I didn't have the grandbabies, then I would just stayed here and, you know, just weather the storm without the power. But with grandkids and stuff like that, need power, of course. No power, no refrigerator, no deep freezer and stuff like that. And then so go get the hotel, go get the hotel. I understand stuff like that is happening, but she's still like, don't worry about it. I'm still gonna pay the rent. I said, look, take care of yourself. We'll figure out the rent later.
Right.
And but the thing is I mean, and my wife said it too. She said it's good to have people that know they have the responsibility to pay,
Yeah.
but it's also great to be able to tell them, "Hey, hold on, fall back." I understand. I'm human also. I understand something happened. Take care of your family, and then we can circle back to this. I mean, we've been doing this. We've been doing this 8 years of running now. It ain't no. Oh, I think you're gonna run off on the rent. I mean, 8 years and you haven't missed. I can wait a couple more days, another week, another pay period, something like that to us, man. And that's just the arts of managing it and things like that. So yeah, it's gonna be a good experience for you. You're gonna see different things. I mean, hopefully this is your first one. Hopefully it goes smooth because this tenant actually was my first tenant. This turn and she's been there 8 years, so it's been a
Yeah.
pretty good situation. So hopefully that goes. But as time goes on, the more you build, hopefully you get lucky to have everyone like that first tenant.
Yeah.
But uh,
Like,
I
yeah.
mean, with
No, go ahead. Go
no, I was gonna say with property manager, without property manager, you have that one that slip through the cracks that make your life hell.
ahead. Yeah. I I can't wait for that. But, like, and with with all this, as the whole process entirely, it's just been a huge learning experience. Um, I think it's common for people to be afraid of taking a step, um, or taking action because they don't want to fail, or they don't know about it, or they have no knowledge of it. And just goes back to the same quote Robert Kiyosaki says, like, if you have knowledge of something, then it's not risky to you. And I mean, I believe that entirely because it gets easier. Like, I mean, the same thing with stocks. Like, I'm still learning all this with real estate and all that, but with stocks is the same thing. It took me, what, 2 years learning under you to really start to get a grasp on the stock market and understand every little thing. But um yeah, it takes time. But that would be my message to those viewing. Just like, just take take risk. Just go for it.
I agree. With all that being said, please like, subscribe. We're still trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Our volume is picked up. We're passing out good information to the public, and we just try to give you the real stories of what it's like to be an investor, giving you keys and things of that nature. To if you want to go out there and step on a limb, I mean that's what they call it, stepping out on a limb when you invest. All your friends gonna say, "Oh, that's risky," but it's really not stepping out on a limb. Like Alex said, if you do the homework and you do the work, it's not a risk. You know what's going on. So we just try to give you the real life scenarios, what's going on. We don't want to make it look like it's all roses and bubbles all the time, but it do provide you a good income to take care of your family. And after you do this for a while and you accumulate assets, then you will have assets that will take care of your family without you going to that W-2 job. So the W-2 job is just icing on the cake. And then whenever you're ready to step away from the corporate world or the corporate rat race, once you build those assets, you can. But with all that being said, thanks for watching the show. We'll see you in the next video.